Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. I would love it if you become part of this family by clicking the red subscribe button and then tapping the bell and all to be notified every single time I upload. So for today I have this Walmart dupe out of Dollar Tree products. Here is the photo of the one I saw in Walmart, and it was pretty expensive. It was $25 and I knew that I could make it for much less. So with all that being said, let's jump right in. Okay, so to start off, you just want to get 2 of the Dollar Tree signs. Now, if you find some that have straight edges, that's fine. These had more of a wood looking edge, so I thought that that would look pretty cool at the bottom of a barn, so I used these. Now, all these materials I had on hand, but altogether this project would probably cost around $5, which $5 versus 25, like, you cannot beat it, and it was not hard to make at all. So here I'm just scoring the edge. I just went right where like the curve was, and I just scored it a bunch of times with my knife, just so that way the part where the roof and the barn meet is straight rather than having holes in it, if that makes sense. But these were really easy to cut. Again, all I did was score it a bunch of times. I bent it, and then I went on the back and just cut that paper that was initially the last layer holding it all together. And I repeated this step for the second sign. After I cut both ends off, I glued on big popsicle sticks to the back of these signs. Now, I wasn't going to mess with all this glitter and all that, so we're going to be using the back side of these, which is going to be much smoother and better looking anyway. So after I have that all attached, I take 2 of the wooden rulers. I had already peeled off the numbers. They're just like stickers. I had these in my stash and they were already peeled off. But if you have them new, peel off the numbers. And then I just took a piece of foam board. This was a scrap paper, and I figured out where I wanted my roof to be, and I just cut the pieces. So next I take a little piece off of a large popsicle stick and glue it to it would be the front side of the ruler. But I do this because I'm going to use this lightweight spackling from Dollar Tree, and I knew that the spackle would just go right through because these holes are so big. So I wanted to have something there to catch the spackling, and that way I wouldn't run into an issue where it would come out of the back. So I just put my spackling in the holes, and this spackling is really easy to work with and it dries really quickly. So I then just took the stickers off both of the signs and sanded it down so that it was smooth, and then I take my vacuum and I just vacuum all the dust off of it. And then also just put some spackling in the holes on the sign as well. And I take our roof piece, and because it's white, I knew that if it was white and we tried to paint it red, it would look different. So I paint that. I believe it's hazelnut Waverly chalk paint. So next I'm just creating just a simple little banner. These are really easy to make, and you can see what I'm doing here, but if you're not good at freehanding it, just print something offline that you like and then trace it and cut it out of foam board. So I just ran my knife around where I had marked, and here is the banner. So I take my Folk Art sterling silver and I give the banner and the wooden rulers a really good coat. And before that, I just sanded off just the little bit of excess spackling that was on my rulers. And I also just sanded off the edges of the foam board where those little round parts are. They were a little bit rough, but if you just take a sanding block or piece of sandpaper, it comes off really easily. So I just give these a really, really good coat. I lay it on really thick because this paint is translucent. If you don't paint it thick, you'll have to do a second coat. Next, I just take my ink and my Waverly chalk paint and I paint the edges of my banner. I always think that it gives it a really cool effect when there's black around the edges. So, and also I just didn't want like the flaws from it being cut to be seen, and that was another reason why I did it. So next we're going to attach the roof. I just hold it on there to the top very tightly and glue more popsicle sticks to it. I do one on each side just to start out, so that way I have it down really good. And then I take another large popsicle stick, I cut it in half, and I attach right in the middle where the other popsicle sticks from the signs meet, and that way it has a really strong hold. And I also do two more, one on each side next to the ones that I did first. Next, I am going to flip it around, make sure that everything is nice and even and that it had adhered nicely. And I'm going to take my crimson and the Waverly chalk paint and give it a really, really good coat. Now, I love these brushes that I'm using. They're nice and big. They really cut down on painting time. Sometimes with bigger pieces and you have a smaller brush, it takes much longer. So I always have these linked down below. So if you guys wanted to check those out, they'll be down in the description box. After I have it all painted and it's dry, I just make marks on the roof going side to side. And I do these a little bit thicker than the barn itself. For the barn itself, I do every 1.5 inches, just so that way where the signs meet would look like a line and it wouldn't look like two signs put together. So initially I had just used a small brush and some ink Waverly chalk paint to make the lines that would basically look kind of like wood, and I didn't like the way it was coming out, so I just took a Sharpie, and I was not perfect. I purposely made these lines so that they weren't so uniform, but it's your preference. If you like them uniform, that's up to you. Now it's looking kind of wonky here, and I was like, I don't know if I really like this, but it definitely all comes together. And when I put this black and dry brush some black on there and on the edges like I always do, you guys know I love this technique, but it definitely brings it together and makes it look more realistic. So I just do that to the whole thing. The roof I went side to side, and the bottom I went up and down, just how you see the lines. And again, I dry brushed all the way around the edges. Next, I am just going to take my ink and the Waverly chalk paint, and I have a small brush again, and I just go in between where the roof and the signs meet, and then that way it doesn't look so wonky, and it kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. So I definitely recommend putting black right there. Next, now bear with me, I'm going to explain this as best as I can. So I want to make the barn door, and small popsicle sticks were too small, skinny sticks were too small as far as height. So I take large popsicle sticks and I just run my knife right down the middle, and this works perfectly. So I cut 3 large popsicle sticks in half, and then 4 of them I cut the edges off, and then 2 of them I just lay the longer ones for the sides out, and then I put one at the bottom and see like how wide I want my door. And whenever I get the right length that I like, I just mark it and cut that off, and then do the same exact thing for the top piece. If that makes no sense, I'm so sorry, but you can see what I'm doing here. After I had all my pieces cut and ready to go, I just give them a really good coat of the white Waverly chalk paint. And I don't do all, I do the front and the sides and edges, but you do not need to do the back side because you won't see it. Next, for our roof pieces and the banner, I just take some elephant in the Waverly chalk paint and a natural sponge, and I just sponge that randomly all over each of the pieces. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail in this video, just because I've done so many galvanizing videos where I explain it step by step, but I can definitely leave it in the cards above to check out the video where I do show you step by step. Next, I just take my white Waverly chalk paint and dab that randomly as well, and the white you don't want to do as much as the elephant. If you go a little bit crazy, just go back in with your elephant chalk paint. So next I am going to paint these pearls that I had gold. I don't know what happened. I missed the clip where I just stenciled on for and holiday. I should have made this banner a bit bigger. So if you do it, make it bigger so that you can do for the holidays. And I just freehanded I then glued on the pearls and finished painting them gold, just so that way they would look like they were holding the banner onto the wreath. Next, we're going to assemble our barn door. Now, I did not want to just glue right directly to the sign because I wanted the cross pieces to be in the back. So I just lay it out and use little pieces of popsicle sticks to hold on the edges. You can see what I'm doing here, and then I just glue the cross pieces down right in the corners, right beside where the popsicle sticks are that are holding the sides together. Now, I did this just because I wanted this to be a bigger barn door, and the sticks were, if I had cut it, then you would see the edge of the stick, if that makes sense. Next, I glue my roof pieces together first, just so that way I have them in the right spot, and then glue them down to the sign. Next, we just glue the barn door. I'm sorry that it's not in frame, but I did put the barn door all the way down to the edge of the bottom of the barn. So I just had this, I think it's like 15-foot garland from Dollar Tree, and I just made a very simple wreath. I just wrapped it around a few times and then glued it down. Now, here is my fail, you guys. I printed this out to trace it, and I should have traced it on there before I put my wreath, but sometimes I get ahead of myself. Does that ever happen to you? Crafter's mistake. But anyway, it didn't work, so I ended up just freehanding it with a white paint marker. And I don't think it looks bad, but I would have rather traced it. But it is what it is. So next, I just had this, it's like holly leaf garland. I don't even know where I got it. I've had it for so long. And I wrapped the Dollar Tree berries onto it. And I just glue that down, and I secure it with some hot glue. And this garland is not easy to glue to, so just make sure that you hold it down really good until it's dried. After that was on, I then attached my banner, and I just put 2 beads of hot glue on each side where I knew that it would sit on the wreath. So after that was done, then I had these little pine cones, and I thought that they would look cute. I got these from Joann's a while ago on clearance. It was a huge bag of them for like 75 cents. It was a crazy good deal that I couldn't pass up. But they sell them at like AC Moore and Joann's and Michael's. So you can also get them off Amazon as well. And Dollar Tree does have bigger ones, but I prefer these smaller ones. So next I'm just going to make a very simple bow. I just fold it 3 times, put a longer piece behind it, I cinch it in the middle and tie it with some jute twine in the middle, and then I fluff it up and glue it on. And that quick and easy, you guys, you can make a $25 sign for just around $5. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. YouTube is going through some really crazy changes right now, so it's kind of hard to get my videos noticed. But if you could please share my videos, tell your family and friends, it would really help my channel out, and I greatly appreciate all of you. Catch you in the next one. Bye.